And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking Lewis Hamilton, Newey not liking Lewis Hamilton, also a bit more. Spray guards, yeah, what are they? All that and more. So let's get into these headlines, and shall we? So, Adrian Newey not being a fan of Lewis, according to a certain media. Yeah, get your salt ready, tin hats ready. Conspiracy theory? Maybe. Ford have an update on the Adrian Newey and how they feel about Adrian Newey's departure. They're not too sad, and they are talking Succession. Yes, not quite Game of Thrones levels, but yeah, not a million miles away. Also, Ferrari spray guards. Ferrari have been sort of testing, and they've sort of tested these new spray guards. I found a video. I'll show you a video. And we'll talk about the spray. We'll talk about the spray guards. And Verstappen accusing Zach Brown of stirring things up. If any of you remember, Zach Brown has basically said, we've had lots and lots of CVs from Red Bull. Yes, this Red Bull mass exodus. Will it happen? I don't think it'll be a mass exodus, but people leave Formula One all the time. I guess we'll get into that. So our first story of the day. Adrian Newey, reportedly not a fan of Lewis Hamilton. This is from planetf1.com, but many other places are reporting it, saying he won't work anywhere to help Lewis Hamilton. Ferrari apparently ruled out for Adrian Newey by what's been described as a leading pundit. Yes. So despite talk of Adrian Newey linking up with Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari, Dutch journalist Jack Pluij, yep, I did say Dutch journalist, he says that Hamilton's 2025 arrival would actually stop the acclaimed designer from moving to Maranello. Instead, he believes if Newey decides to continue in Formula One, it would only be with Max Verstappen, who has been linked to Mercedes, even though there's also stories that Adrian Newey doesn't want to work with Toto Wolff. He said, I don't think he will work anywhere to help Lewis Hamilton win a title. Why? Bizarre. I mean, Adrian Newey has come out and said one of his regrets is not working with Fernando Alonso and not working with Lewis Hamilton. But anyway, in a year, as we know, of major announcements, Newey joined Hamilton in breaking the internet when he announced he'd be leaving Red Bull in the first quarter of 2025. Now, like Hamilton, he too was signed to a multi-year contract, but he was like, no, I don't want to. So while Hamilton's shock announcement was that he was going to Ferrari, as we all know, Newey, we have no idea where he is going to go, but he has been linked to Ferrari, and the Scuderia have supposedly made several plays to try and get Newey over the decades, something that is admitted by Adrian Newey himself. So this guy says if Newey ever works somewhere again, it will be together with Verstappen, predicted Ziggo Sport journalist, the Dutch journalist from the Dutch journalist from Holland, Max Verstappen country. Remember that? British journalists are equally biased. I'm not, taking sides here. But he said, I don't think he will work anywhere to help Lewis Hamilton win a title. I think he gets too much joy out of Max. And why? He says, are we still thinking about 2021? Who was crying happy tears at the pit wall? Newey. Horner was just like, yeah, baby. Newey was crying. He was so intensely happy with that. So I really trust, because of the crying, he will only go somewhere if Max is there. Verstappen, despite having a contract with Red Bull that runs to 2028, continues to be linked to a move at Mercedes in 2026. Crying. So, so this journalist thinks the reason, let me get this right, the reason Adrian Newey is not going to Ferrari is because he cried at the Max Verstappen win in 2021, and that was the car that he also designed that finally beat Mercedes to the 2021 driver's title, albeit on the last lap, albeit somewhat controversially. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm sure this guy is great. Today, I think the term identifying as a journalist is fairly loose. On to the next story. So Ford on the Newey departure. As we know, Ford they've issued responses to Red Bull before in relation to this whole Christian Horner thing, but they've responded to the exit ahead of the Red Bull partnership. So as we know, Adrian Newey going from Red Bull, and I'm going to get the Ford quote here if you just bear with me, because when they sign, when you think about it, they're signing and they're thinking, Adrian Newey, he's going to be a key part of our 2026 car when we go full-on Red Bull powertrains a la Ford. But unfortunately, that is very much not going to be the case, because Adrian will have, supposedly is not going to have a say in the 2026 car. In fact, from the Miami Grand Prix, he's exclusively, I believe, working on the RB17, and he's basically going to be locked out of all development from the Red Bull team. Now, Ford are entering in 2026, and news of Newey departure would probably be a fairly big concern. Yeah. Because it's a long-term technical partnership. But Ford's Performance Motorsport Director, Mark Rushbrook, awesome last name, said his exit makes no change. He said, "We have huge respect for Adrian in terms of his career and all the things that he has done for many teams in F1, especially the last 19 years at Red Bull." He said, "We wish him the best for whatever he will do in the future. Our focus, though, fully remains on the power unit program for 2026. That's unchanged after this news, and that is still going ahead full throttle. Like any good company or any good racing team, you always have a succession plan, and you are always training and developing people within the organisation. That is no different in this case. I'm not being disrespectful to Adrian at all, because he is fantastic," he said, "but every team has a succession plan." Yeah, and absolutely, that makes perfect sense. I can't really argue with that. They like Adrian Newey. I imagine, if asked honestly, they'd probably rather have him there, but he's not going to be there, and they just kind of have to get on with it and make the best of it. So let's talk about these Ferrari spray guards, shall we? Here is a video I found on the Facebook. If I just pop over here, I'll quickly play it for you. As you can see, if we pause it there, I mean, with the car, you can see the two very, very much spray guards. I mean, they almost look like, yeah, they're almost looking fairly bizarre. There you go. Let's see it one more time. They are weird, aren't they? It is very weird. Well, Ferrari are trialling. Understand, they're trialling these spray guards, and they're said to be aggressive spray guards. And obviously the photos and videos, as you've seen, they also tried another version with spoke-like sides, kind of like, I guess, like a bike. But later on in the day, the team, yeah, they've tried both sides. The Italian reserve driver squad, no other than Oliver Behrman, star of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, he ran behind Leclerc in a 2024 car to check the visibility. The test was organised by the FIA, and it's not really counting as a filming day for Ferrari. The FIA had run the first version of the spray guards during a wet test in Silverstone last year, but they weren't really too happy with it. Now, no actual images of the test were shared. The FIA did offer some 3D renders of the solution, which consisted of partial wall covers on both the front and the rear. The test carried out, and that was the test at Mercedes, but it didn't make any significant difference. And by the looks of it, it doesn't make a massive difference of the spray guards. They look, yeah. But then, like the Halo, I guess, it's not going to be its first iteration. And if it allows Formula One to race in actual wet conditions where they can actually use the wet tyres, I don't think anyone is going to be complaining at all. I certainly won't be complaining. Rock on, Formula One, as far as I'm concerned. Now, last but not least, Verstappen is basically saying Brown is trying to stir things up with the Red Bull Newey comment. So Zach Brown, next Verstappen believes Zach Brown wants to stir everything up, following the McLaren CEO's assertion that more dominoes will fall after Adrian Newey's impending departure at Red Bull. He stated he's seen an increase in applications from those currently employed by Red Bull, and in the wake of these allegations and the power struggles surrounding both team principal Christian Horner and obviously, the Christian Horner, the Thai side, and the Austrian side, he believes that's one of the reasons why Newey left. Now, Horner refuted those comments, but he would. He's the boss. He stated that it was inevitable that other teams wished to capitalise on the situation. Yeah, they don't call it a shark tank for nothing, or the Piranha Club in Formula One, but Verstappen agreed with his team principal, noting that Red Bull's successes had made many of its staff targets for other teams seeking to improve its own fortunes. Now, he obviously wants to stir things up. He said, "For us as a team, we can't do anything with comments like that," Verstappen said. "From his point of view, I understand it, of course, because everyone is trying to attract our people, and that is completely normal in the world of Formula One. But I'm not really interested in those things either. I see the headlines, but I don't even click on them." But he's commenting on them, though, isn't he? So Verstappen, though, added that many of Red Bull's key staff were subject to long-term contracts. although admitted that there were human aspects that had to be taken into account. The Dutch driver is contracted, for example, to Red Bull for 2028, and even Max Verstappen, despite saying that himself, has reiterated that he may not finish that contract out and could leave should things happen. So is Adrian Newey the first of this Red Bull exit? I don't think there'll be an exodus. I think a lot of it's going to depend on this whole employee tribunal and what happens to Christian Horner. And we're going to have to wait, unfortunately, for that. And if Christian is found absolutely innocent, then I think a lot of people are going to have to apologise to him. We've always said innocent to proven guilty. I mean, they've not even admitted or denied of those WhatsApp leaks, for example, which is weird. But surely you deny them. But maybe, if they weren't real, some people could argue. But maybe they've been told, don't talk about them at all. Maybe they're just taking advice from their lawyers. So there we go. Anyway, that's pretty much it for today on the Formula One news. If you like what you see, please send us a subscribe. Stay here for all your F1 news. There'll be more tomorrow, and probably there'll be more Monday. I'm off to see the touring car though on Sunday, so there definitely won't be any on Sunday night maybe, but definitely Friday and all Saturday we'll get news. Also, the rally's on this week, Rally Portugal, and we'll be hopefully having a video about that. I digress. We'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much.